today's episode, raccoons devastate watermelon farms across Chiba Prefecture. Japanese mayor's maternity leave sparks unprecedented national debate. And authorities investigate alleged ice cream cartel. These are just some of the recent stories on Japan that just happened to catch my eye. Welcome to the TokyoBill News Brief. The National Ballet of Japan has won the Outstanding Company Prize at the UK's National Dance Awards, presented by the dance section of the British Critics Circle, marking the first time a Japanese ballet company has received the honor. The award follows the troupe's debut overseas performance, a staging of Giselle at London's Royal Opera House last July, the first international performance by its home venue, the new National Theatre in Tokyo. The production was directed by Miyako Yoshida, a former principal dancer with the Royal Ballet, who has led the company's programming since 2022. Founded in 1997, the National Ballet of Japan is regarded as one of the country's leading dance companies, with a repertoire spanning classical ballet, 20th century works, and original productions. The award was selected from 379 nominated artists and companies active in the UK ballet performances over the past year. Japanese companies, which sponsored the FIFA World Cup consistently from the early 1980s through 2014, have entirely disappeared from the tournament's sponsor list over the past 3 editions, replaced by firms from the Middle East, China, and South Korea, including Aramco, Qatar Airways, Lenovo, Hisense, and Hyundai. Former sponsors such as JVC, Fujifilm, Seiko, Toshiba, and Sony once used the tournament to build global brand recognition for consumer electronics and photographic products, but structural shifts within these companies, moving away from consumer goods toward corporate services and infrastructure, have reduced their need for the kind of broad public exposure sponsorship provides. A weaker yen, which raises the cost of dollar-denominated sponsorship fees, and decades of post-bubble economic stagnation have also pushed Japanese firms toward more pragmatic, return-focused marketing decisions. Experts say a future World Cup hosted in a high-growth market like India or Southeast Asia could prompt renewed Japanese interest. American interest in Wagyu beef has grown sharply in recent years, appearing on steakhouse menus, burgers, and retail shelves nationwide. But the vast majority of what is marketed as Wagyu in the US is actually produced domestically, or in Australia from cattle descended from Japanese breeding stock, exported before export controls tightened in the 1990s. True Japanese Wagyu, legally limited to 4 native breeds and their crossbreeds, remains a niche product in the United States market, accounting for less than 1% of total beef imports. Exports roughly doubled in 2021 and have held steady since, constrained primarily by tariff structure. A limited low-tariff import quota is reached early each year, after which a 26.4% tariff applies. Industry advocates argue that expanded, reciprocal beef trade would benefit both countries, even as Tokyo navigates broader trade tensions with the Trump administration. Chicken prices in Japan have climbed to their highest level since comparable records began in 2023, with the average retail price of chicken thighs reaching 155 yen per 100 grams in June, according to the Agriculture Ministry. The increase has forced food companies to make difficult menu decisions. Yokohama-based Kyoken replaced chicken in chili sauce with shrimp in one of its signature bento boxes, its first ingredient change in around 2 decades, after import prices rose sharply amid Middle East tensions. Kentucky Fried Chicken Japan has raised its flagship original chicken price for the 4th time since 2022. Officials and analysts point to rising global demand for chicken, higher feed and energy costs linked to Middle East instability, and a shift toward domestic suppliers as key drivers. Egg prices have also matched record highs, with the Japan Poultry Association expecting prices to stabilize this summer as hen populations recover from bird flu culls. The Japan Fair Trade Commission has conducted on-site inspections at the headquarters of 6 major ice cream manufacturers, Akagi Nugyo, Eizaki Glico, Lotte, Meiji, Morinaga Milk Industry, and Morinaga and Company, over suspected violations of the Anti-Monopoly Act related to coordinated price increases. According to Japanese media reports, the companies allegedly exchanged information through meetings and emails over several years to align the timing of suggested retail price hikes, typically around 10 yen per item, with wholesale price increases potentially affecting retailers as well. Both Meiji and Glico confirmed the inspections and pledged full cooperation with investigators. The probe marks the first cartel investigation in Japan's ice cream sector, which reached a record market value of around 663 billion yen in 2025, marking 6 consecutive years of growth driven partly by increasingly hot summers and rising demand for frozen desserts during the country's long, intensifying heat season. A growing raccoon population in Chiba Prefecture is devastating watermelon harvests, with farmers reporting fruit hollowed out from the inside just days before picking, despite installing motion sensor lighting, overnight radios, and traps. The animals have shown a clear preference for ripening watermelons over bait food, and because each plant typically yields only 1 or 2 marketable fruits, even minor damage renders the harvest unsellable. Raccoons, native to North America, were introduced to Japan as pets following a popular 1977 animated television series and established wild populations after being abandoned by owners. They are now designated as invasive species. Agricultural damage in Chiba has risen roughly tenfold since the mid-2000s, reaching approximately 46.5 million yen in the most recent fiscal year, with raccoons increasingly invading homes and vacant buildings, as well as farmland. Shoko Kawata, the 35-year-old mayor of Yawata in western Japan, has become the first sitting Japanese mayor to take maternity leave, a decision that has triggered weeks of national debate, opinion polling, and newspaper editorials. Kawata, who became Japan's youngest female mayor at 33 on a platform focused on childcare and combating depopulation, says she did not anticipate the scale of controversy, attributing it to deeply held cultural expectations that career commitment requires personal sacrifice. Japan ranks 118th out of 148 countries in the latest Gender Gap Report, the lowest among G7 nations, and only around 30% of Japanese local councillors are women. Kawata plans to follow the national standard maternity leave timeline, returning to office by December, and hopes her example will encourage more women to enter Japanese politics. This has been the TokyoBill Japan News Brief. Links to the original stories can be found at my website, and support via Patreon is now available. I've been, and remain, TokyoBill. Thank you for listening, and take care.